should be popping up here in just a second. See a bunch of you already in here. How's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy show. And last night was a good one. I see a bunch of you mentioning already Tony D. If you had him, you were probably in good shape. If you didn't have him, well, I hope you played the late slate or spent some time with the family or did something else, because my God, that guy, 5 points midway through the game, a hat trick. He had, did he get a hat trick? I can't even remember. He had 3 and 2. I can't remember if it was a hat trick or 3 assists. Anyways, he broke the slate pretty early in the night. We'll get to lineup study and pretty self-explanatory, kind of what took stuff down. We had a big win. One of the regulars in Slack and in the YouTube channel, longtime subscriber, took it down with a really nice lineup on FanDuel. So FanDuel actually had the biggest top prize last night, or tied for the biggest, I guess. They got you don't normally see like bigger than 5K to first on FanDuel for NHL, but 20K last night, and he banked when it mattered. So we'll talk about that in just a second. We are presented by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Yahoo, great place to play DFS. Especially if you're just getting started or you just want more volume. That is better for your ROI. Because of the lower management fees, you're going to get less steep competition. And then every once in a while, you got to keep an eye out for these. There's only 4 spots left in this NBA one. No management fee in the $3 today over on Yahoo. Not going to find a tournament better than that in the industry. You should always enter this if you're playing the sport. Even if you're not, I think you'd be okay using the tools here. And more often than not, I think you're going to be all right if you've got the tools on the site, if you're a platinum member or whatever. Always try to get in these for the respective sport. I think their NFL one did not fill. So there you go. $3, once again, $400 up top, 0% management fee. Again, no reason to not play this, even if you don't normally play on Yahoo. I mean, just play the no management fee stuff. It's worth your while. You just get a little bit familiar with the site rules and use the tools on Osmo.com. Use the free stuff when it is free. Like, we've got a bunch of free stuff today, once again, so you can get a peek behind the paywall. I think the theme today for the free stuff is rankings. So actually, let's do that right now. We have NBA rankings free today. Hit the like button if you wish you had all the Tony D last night. Maybe some of you guys did. I see a bunch of you have already hit the like button. I appreciate that. As always, helps us continue to do this kind of content for free. NBA rankings free today. NFL rankings. If you're not playing NFL tomorrow, well, you should be. And take a peek at the rankings today for free. They will not be free tomorrow. I can't remember what tool is supposed to be free tomorrow, but you'll find out whether you look in the newsletter or you look on Osmo_com Twitter or the sport-specific Twitter pages. You will find it. The social media guys do a really good job of promoting stuff. So NFL. And then NHL. Of course, you got to have the free NHL rankings as well. So this would be what you would get with the Express Weekly package, or I can't remember. Do we have Express Monthly? We've taken away some packages, added some different ones, but you would get this with an Express package if you do have it. You would also get it. Some people like the rankings better than the projections. I prefer the projections because I'm crunching out all these lineups, but if you're a hand builder, I can see how rankings would be very helpful. Just the tiered way that everything is laid out value-wise and raw point-wise. FC is moving quick today. Yeah, those 3-gamers, that's where you want the big news, right? That's where you want the line changes, because if you are paying attention around, especially on a Friday, people don't. It just feels like there's probably a bigger edge if you're paying attention on a Friday, just because people go out or don't pay attention. They're hanging out with their families if they've got kids or whatever, wife, husband, whatever it is. So yeah, pay attention if you can. If you can stick around until 7 Eastern, and might get some Sidney Crosby news. Looks like he might come back tonight. He's at least got a chance. Without Nolan on the show, feel free to drop in any news. There's always stuff that I miss. Been doing a lot of other stuff today, and so it's very possible I missed something. So you guys are always helpful, but just wanted to remind you, you guys help produce this show all the time. So thankful for that. If you would like to become a premium member, this is the last day to use both our New Year's promo code, which gets you $200 off the Osmo Platinum yearly package. So if you lock in for a year, $200 off at 20%, or the 2020 promo. These are both expiring tonight. $20 for 20 days of Osmo Plus Platinum. Got a bunch of inquiries about this package. If you do want to sign up with Fantasy Cruncher with this package, so Fantasy Cruncher is not included, but you can buy FC as an add-on once you purchase the package with the 20 days. Make sure you sign up for Platinum monthly, and then you can buy Fantasy Cruncher afterwards. Some details below here. You can cancel it anytime if you don't like it or whatever. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, I saw Donskoy out. Oh, Crosby's out? Okay. Oh, well, there we go. Crosby's out. All right. Well, that actually, maybe you don't need to stick around your computer or your phone. All right, I've got my Twitter list up here. Votz's Twitter list, I should say. Actually, let me pimp out Votz's Twitter list. I don't think we promote this enough. But here, Votz has a list of all the NHL beats. It is a must if you like to grind through news and you're making a bunch of lineups and you want to see all the news coming in. If you do your own work, we're going to post a lot of this stuff in Twitter anyways, but make sure you follow, subscribe to Votz's list. He's got everything laid out by team, and then if you scroll all the way down, all the NHL beat writers, 187 beats he's got followed. Only 162 subscribers. We should get that up. We should get that up a little bit. So, must if you're playing NHL DFS, especially if you are multi-entering, like we like to do all the time. Lineup study. Let's do it. We do have FanDuel. This is actually FanDuel. So, to show you I'm not lying. Here we go. FanDuel right on top. FC had them loaded. I don't know how long they've had this. I should probably know that because we are partners with FC. But we got to talk about the big win from last night. Got to get this win with 3 eyes. I think it's 3 eyes. It's hard to tell sometimes with these usernames. We as humans don't read every letter. Got to get this win. 1, 2. I can't tell if that's 3 or 4. I'm too far away from my computer. Anyways, where can we find the beat writer list? There you go, right there. Premium Slack. Beat out our nemesis, B. Kreider. Not actually our nemesis, I'm sure. He's a nice guy. Just been smashing everything, and he had a good night, not only on FanDuel, but also on DraftKings. So let's look at what Josh had last night. Oh, wait, we can't look at it. Okay, so that's the problem. So we can see everything. All right, so it's not fully ready. But let's go to the tournament and see what his lineup was. I did see he had a Nick Bonino one-off, I want to say. Yeah, so he got first and third. So just smashed this tournament. Only 34 entries, so he had about a third of what the max was, and he just crushed it. So this is what he had. Freaking Noel Achari had to get that second goal. This bastard. We'll talk about why he's a bastard in a minute, but he did get Josh to bank this tournament, so I guess he's not all bad. Zibanejad, Panarin, Kreider, just a classic power play stack with Tony D. Cool 65.8 points on FanDuel, 7.2% ownership. That will do. He had Trocheck, Connolly, Achari, so a 4-man power play stack, 3-man even strength stack. Nothing flashy here, but he did not correlate his goalie. I think he probably, he wouldn't have banked if he correlated here. I think he would have probably finished second and third. What did Igor score? Yeah, okay, so that was kind of the difference. Bishop had a shutout, So I didn't stay up to sweat it. I saw he had a good lineup, but I didn't know about the second one. And this was the second one that Josh had. 27 save shutout. Needed the shutout, needed the win, and got exactly what he needed. So perfect job here. Clefbaum, 11.2 points, certainly did not hurt either. Wasn't the reason, but if you had Rangers power play stack with Florida 1 on either side, you were competing to bink. Just for good measure, he also added in the third place finish, Strome, Panarin, Jesper Fast, 3-man. I'm assuming he hand-built these. I haven't talked to him much. Oh, yeah. He could only limit to 4 Rangers, so he couldn't correlate. Yep. I forget about that on FanDuel, even though I play there every once in a while. But all the guys in the sub chat, like I see all these guys binking FanDuel, and then I go on there and I just get waxed. So maybe I'll just stick to DraftKings and Yahoo and hopefully make some money there, and then everyone else, you guys can have all the money on FanDuel. That's what it seems like lately. But Marchand, Pasternak, just a 2-man Boston 1 stack. Tony D with Rangers 2, Talbot. One of the nut goalies scored the same as Ben Bishop without the shutout. 42 saves. Minnesota pushed there at the end. Could not get it done. So I know Josh is a Minnesota fan, but I'm assuming he was rooting pretty hard for Talbot to get that win. Hofbrau binks on FanDuel. All right, what did you bink? We'll go to that next. We'll just, Manny Laura's stream from Fantasy Crunch. He does Flex Friday. And so you guys just tell me all your flexes, I suppose. We'll just copy him a little bit. I think he does it for NBA and NFL mostly. But, yeah, if you had success, feel free to let me know, and we can analyze the lineup. Nick Bonino one-off. What was he at on FanDuel? 3,600. That's a pretty good price. Nashville 3 has been rolling lately. Got a goal, 2.7%. I mean, this lineup was going to be different as soon as you had the Nick Bonino one-off in there. And, yeah. Brad Marchand. I mean, you probably could have, if he would have contributed a little bit more, maybe you take down first and second. But I'm sure you'll be okay with first and third, right? All right, what did you bink? The $5? What did you bink? Nashville 3 GOAT. Bot says, yeah, Nashville 3. Man, they have been. Their numbers are crazy. Oh, okay. You're just saying in general you bink. Okay, maybe you didn't bink last night, but that's all right. Tonight's a new night. So, Achari and co. Really Tony D and the Rangers took it down for Josh. So congrats once again. Really awesome lineups. Yeah, I saw that screenshot this morning. It made me happier than what I was when I went to bed. So if you'll indulge me for a second, got a second place in the qualifier. I think back-to-back second places for me, or maybe I had third. I think Drewby got first and second in the last 250 qualifier, and then I got third in that one. So, man, if these guys just decide not to enter these, I might be sitting on a couple seats, but that's how it goes. I mean, just a great lineup here by Walmart CNXN. He maxed it out. I'm assuming he could be a she. Not really sure. She had the 5 Rangers. Zibanejad, Strome, Panarin, D'Angelo, Shesterkin. Someone sent me the pronunciation. I can't remember who it was in Premium Slack, because we're going to be saying his name a lot if he keeps goating it up like this. But anyways, we had the same 5, actually. Zibanejad, Strome, Panarin. And then the difference was he had Petrie, 10.8. My guy I had a 0 for one of my defensemen. So really he crushed with Connolly, Achari, Trocheck. Achari continues to ruin my life. Man, this guy's been something. I think he was the only one in the tournament with Achari. That seems like a pretty safe bet there. But yeah, I mean, not like it's a lineup that's far-fetched either. Rangers power play stack, and then full line Florida 2, who's had some huge performances. They were cheap. I mean, can't hate on the lineup, that's for sure. Really nice job there. And he crushed me by 40 points. So it's not like I was sweating this out. This was my lineup. Didn't have to late swap or anything. I left open LeBanc, Hurdle, and Kane in case I needed to chalk up this lineup. But the guy in front of me, the guy we just looked at, he had the same 5 plus Petrie, and then he had Florida 2 going. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to swap to a worse line. I needed some sort of like hat trick. All 3 guys hit the 3-point bonus or something like that. And they were fine. LeBanc had a multi-point game, but I wasn't going to get there. Stillman 0. Not very helpful, but ultimately did not matter. So, quick look at, this guy actually won the $10 as well. So, had this couple lineups in a bunch of different places. Same lineup. B. Kreider up there. B. Kreider had, I think, a really good night all around on both sites. In fact, he binked the $295 for 20K. Maxed it out per usual. Guessing Rangers power play. Yeah, Strome, Panarin, D'Angelo, Shesterkin, and then Killorn, Hedman power play 1 stack there. Florida 2, Achari, Connolly, Trocheck. That 3-2-1, that B. Kreider. Is it BK Ryder or B. Kreider? I guess I always go with B. Kreider, but I haven't really thought about that. He plays all sports, as far as I know. I know he plays NBA. If you didn't play Jesper Fast, you ain't banking FanDuel. Well, I always play Jesper Fast, so I think I'm okay in that regard. Anyways, fun night for one of our subscribers, and I think there was a lot of success to be had if you had some Rangers 1 and you had the Tony D 5-point game. All right, let's go to tonight's slate. We'll start with Ottawa and Detroit. 3.2 implied total for both sides. Marcus Hogberg and Jonathan Bernier are your goalies. So, I think, just real quick, I think this is a night where, if you just run projections and you're just looking for value, I think you might get yourself in trouble here. When you start looking into how actual matchups will go, and specifically in this game. So this is going to be a premier game that everybody wants a part of, and myself included. The majority of my lineups will have something in this. But I think on our projections and on a lot of other sites' projections, I'm assuming Detroit 1's going to grade out really well for people. Ottawa on the road. Ottawa in general, not a good defensive team. It's Hogberg in net. I mean, this is not Anders Nilsson. That might make a difference in the Vegas total. But Detroit, 3.2 implied total, about as high as you'll see for them all season. So, it's a good spot for Detroit. No doubt about that. Ownership, though, is a thing. And so, do we think that Detroit 1 should be as highly owned as some of these other really good lines? In the other game, should they be that higher owned than Carolina 1? I don't really know. I'm trying to pull up Detroit's stats right now. Natural stat trick going a little bit slow for me. But we love natural stat trick, so I can deal with them being a little bit slow. Okay, Fabry and then Bertuzzi. So if you look at their defensive numbers, I want to just have these so I can reference them. So, offensive numbers too. So they're only generating 50.5 Corsi for per 60. Not really that concerned about percentages. 30 shots for per 60. 2.23 expected goals for per 60. It's not terrible, but this is not the line that it usually is when Manta's on it. Or, maybe even Athanasiou. They're just going to struggle defensively. This is not that dominant of a line. And so if they're going to go up against Ottawa 1, that's a line that I think is they're not great. They're not good defensively. It's not like you have to avoid Detroit 1, but I think I prefer Ottawa 1 over Detroit 1 if I could only have one of them tonight. And we've got them at lower ownership. So that's kind of what I mean about if you're just running an optimizer and you're not doing anything after that, you're not accounting for ownership, I think this is a night where you could get in trouble. And maybe not tonight. Like maybe all the chalk stacks will go off and it'll fit perfectly and it'll be, Detroit 1 and I don't even know what other line would we be looking for. Detroit 1, Pitt 1. Like maybe it'll end up where that's the nut lineup and it won't matter. Like something that fits together perfectly with Detroit 1, but I think the better spot is Ottawa 1. And so even factoring in some of the stuff that I like to look at, like it's more of an intuition call, I guess. But like when I factor this stuff, I like to look at, I give bumps to lines that have very good sustained numbers. And so Ottawa 1 would definitely fall into that category. Even when I give them a little bit of a bump, it's difficult for them to come up in the optimizer compared to Detroit 1. And so you're seeing that in the ownership as well. So you've got Ottawa 1 at 17-1, Detroit 1 at 18K. Like that's not a big enough gap to make people jump over to Ottawa 1. They'll see Tkachuk at almost 7K, and maybe he's a fine play, but they'll say, all right, I'll leave off Connor Brown for 5K. But Brown's actually not been bad. I actually have to give him some credit. He's in a good situation playing with Peugeot and Tkachuk, at least offensively. So I prefer Ottawa 1 over Detroit 1 if I'm like building one lineup. I think I prefer Ottawa 2 over Detroit 2 as well. So I'm on the Ottawa side here. Nemeth greater than D'Angelo. Yeah. I really like the Ottawa side here. And I know projections might not agree as much, but this is a spot where I really think Ottawa 1 is got a good chance to roll here. And I'm going to include Connor Brown a lot, which might be a hot take. It's not meant to be, but I like playing full lines, at least one full line per lineup. And I'm thinking of just running 3-3s tonight because I like the ownership we're seeing on the Sens top line. Batherson and Duclair. Batherson, a prospect. He shoots a lot, and he's scoring a lot of points in the AHL. 3K for him might not be a known commodity yet, and so that will be a guy you can play as a one-off. I think you could play Ottawa 2 pretty easily here. They're probably going to be a train wreck defensively, but if you're going up against Filppula and Zadina and Luke Glendening and Franz Nielsen, I don't think it's that big of a deal for this game. Specifically, they're definitely a line I'll target against the next time they play if we're on a bigger slate. But here, I'm fine firing up Ottawa 2 as well. Like looking at where we have Batherson, yeah, he's a nice low-owned one-off for 3K. He's going to make it work a lot. Shabbat, 5,700. Good price for him in the spot. Detroit, I think, as good of a matchup as you can ask for. Okay, I've got my top 94 lineups right now. Shabbat looks like my second highest owned defenseman. Yeah. Second highest owned defenseman for me is good old Tommy Shabbat. I'm assuming you guys can guess who number one is. Probably no secret. Borowicki. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Boro, we'll call him. 4,100. Not really a guy I'm looking to play anyways. He has the flu and is a game time decision, according to VOTS. It's probably Shabbat or nothing for me. And by or nothing, I mean I might have a couple shares of random Ottawa defensemen. Hainsey's okay. Probably going to play a decent amount of minutes at 3,100, but it's Shabbat. And then on the other side, it's Hronek. Power play 1. If I'm going to a Detroit line, if I'm going to Detroit, it's probably either power play stacking So maybe broken PP stack with Larkin Bertuzzi or Larkin Fabry and Zadina, I think is a guy you can mix in there. You should be considering mixing in there. And then filling it out with Hronik as a 4-man. Borviecki? Jeez. Either way, Borel, game time decision. So if you're looking to play a lot of $4,100, a $4,100 third pairing defenseman, there you go. He might not play. I think that about covers this game, but I think this is the most important game. Looking at the ownership, and just you got to know how optimizers work. Just they're just trying to jam in as much value as possible, and so that's probably going to come from the Detroit side more often than the Ottawa side. Even though the team totals are the exact same, this is an outlier total for Detroit. Whereas, like, I think you're going to see Ottawa around 3.2 goals in a lot of their games, mostly at home. But like you'll almost never see this total for Detroit. So even with the increased prices on Larkin and Bertuzzi, it's still not enough for them to not be one of the top values. Favorite goalie today? I have the most Ranta right now, but I mean I like Carolina. So, and I guess Carolina is another reason why I'm being somewhat careful with the optimizer. I'm playing more on intuition tonight and line matching stuff. Okay, let's go to that game. 2.5 implied total for the Coyotes, 3.1 for the Hurricanes. Antti Ranta and Peter Mrazek are your goalies. We have Arizona, who just got crushed playing Tampa last night. It was. Are you playing Shabbat with your Ottawa stacks? Yeah, I'm playing Shabbat for sure. I mean, if you can fit him, right? No reason to get off of him, I don't think. At least I'm not seeing one. I usually like to just check on his minutes. His minutes are massive lately. Yeah. Wow. In fact, I might be low on Shabbat, to be honest. Holy. He's played at least 27 and a half minutes, probably his last 7 or 8 games, just eyeballing it. You could be Pat Nemeth, and I would play you if you're playing 28 minutes a night. Like, especially with a 3.2 total. He's on the top power play. Yeah. I actually might even be low on Shabbat. I might give him a manual boost. Because it's just the rates that have been lower for Shabbat this season. It's the minutes have been, when they've been there, he's been fine. And they are definitely there. Okay, so this is your, they'll come down. That's a good point. They'll come down with Hainsey back. Well, I mean, they'll come down to 26, maybe 25. Yeah. So this is probably the game that everyone's going to have the least exposure to. Last 10, 30.2 minutes per game. Yikes. That is a lot of minutes. And line matching is pretty clear here. So that is fantastic. I was kind of hoping we would see higher ownership on the Arizona side, but with the 2.5 implied total, like they're kind of on the fence for me as, okay, Arizona 1 talking about, they're kind of on the fence for me in terms of a contrarian spot that's not a good one, or are they too owned because of this hard match situation that they're going to get against Stahl, Svechnikov, Foegele. Stahl, Svechnikov, Foegele, a line that I really respect. When you talk about numbers, they are, I mean, they're just really tough. They're really tough. And they hard match when they're at home. You would expect that here. I'm trying to filibuster while I pull these numbers up. They're at under 44 shot attempts per 60. That's Corsi against per 60. 1.85 expected goals against. They are at just over 20 scoring chances. I mean, they're really hard to score on, or even get quality chances on. So knowing that line's going to go up against Hall, Dvorak, Garland, makes it tough for me to want to play that line. But at the same time, they're kind of low owned. So what I'll probably end up doing is just limiting them. We have Dvorak and Garland at pretty low ownership. I wish Arizona had a better implied total here, honestly, because I think that would boost them up. Because the price looks appealing. I wonder if they even come up a little bit in our last update to like maybe closer to 10%, because that's kind of an appealing filler line, I think, for most people. But it's not really for me. So either way, I don't think I'm going to just outright fade them. But if I'm looking for lines that are going to get ownership that I'm considering crossing off, Arizona 1 would be one of them. And Arizona 1's awesome, don't get me wrong. But like their numbers are great. So they could overcome this line, this stall line for sure. And that's why I don't think I'm going to like just X out Arizona 1. But just be aware that it is a really, really tough matchup. Now, the other matchup here, if you're talking about top 6, Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen versus Soderberg, Keller, and Schmaltz. I think Carolina 1 has a pretty good case to be the top line of the night, just because I think they have the best even strength matchup of the night. Soderberg, Keller, Schmaltz as a trio, one of the worst lines we've seen all season defensively. Like that could not be much worse. Keller, Soderberg. I'm using the line tool here. Over on Natural Stat Trick. Who am I looking for? Keller, Soderberg, and Schmaltz. I don't like how they sort it by first name, but they're at so they can't generate chances and they give up a ton and scoring chances. Shot attempts, 3.14 expected goals against per 60. They're going to see a lot of Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen. They're going to see a lot of Hall, Zingle, and Netchus, and that stinks for them. That's a line I am just looking to target every slate, especially when they're on the road and you have a better idea who they're going to see the most of. Give me Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen, 100% over Arizona 2. Like, if this line wins tonight, if this line binks tonight, I would be very surprised. There's obviously a chance of that happening. I wish they would price them at 3K here, so people, like all of them at 3K, so people would play them. That's not really the case, though. So, not going to get my wish here. They're really low owned. If you think I'm a donkey and you want to play Arizona 2, I understand that. But as far as lines I'm considering crossing off, Arizona 2 might be up near the top. The only thing that makes me nervous is just, well, two things. Do I get this match correct? Like, they wouldn't go stall against the Keller line with Taylor Hall on this team. You wouldn't think. But if for some reason I get the matchups wrong, that could be an issue. But even then they're going up against Stahl. So I guess that shouldn't even be an issue. It's just they get secondary power play time. Carolina takes a lot of penalties, I guess, is the only reason. And it's hockey. There's a ton of variance. But I'm heavily considering just Xing them out as a full stack. You can play Clayton Keller one-offs or whatever at 5,200. That's fine. But if this line scores a full line goal, you will catch me tilting in Slack this evening. Even on a Friday. Still sometimes in there. So, Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen, I think maybe the best 5-on-5 matchup of the night. They are already incredibly good at 5-on-5. I think they just run over this line. And probably this line too. Stepan, Kraus, and Kessel. Boy, that's going to be a tough line defensively. So Arizona's a good team. We got a modest total for Carolina. I don't think people are just going to jam in Aho and Teravainen and certainly not Niederreiter. But this might be the spot where I hate doing this with one lineup, like playing two games of the early or two for the early game because you don't leave yourself open to late swapping. But on a 3-game slate, I would consider just going Ottawa 2 and Carolina 2 and calling it good, getting some good defensemen. I really like 2 and 3 especially, but I think the PP stack is still in play on a shorter slate for Carolina. Aho, Niederreiter, or Aho, Teravainen. You can mix in, definitely want to mix in Svechnikov, but even Haula in there with Dougie. I like it. I really, really, really prefer Carolina here. They're just so tough with the shutdown line, and then your other line in the top six is this line, which just runs over opposing lines, and then like Haula is your third line center. That it seems like it's pretty good for them. Slavin, Hamilton, Pesce are my favorite Carolina defensemen. Obviously, Dougie number one, because he's always number one, and I've got him ahead of everyone else. I think everyone's going to have him ahead of everyone else. Because he's 7K, and because it's not a great power play spot, I probably won't be making a major stand on him, but if he ends up being my top owned player, it might be at like 35%, and so it's not that big of an edge. Like, I'm not going to have a 100%. Favorite NFL Hulo? Well, I haven't even looked at the slate. I usually just fire up Showdown. Got a little system for Showdown, and just literally just use the tools on the site. Create some groups and let it fly and see what happens. So I don't know. We've got Vikings tomorrow. Vikings 49ers. Hot take. Boy, I don't even have I think Minnesota can compete. I don't really know a ton about football, but I watch the games and I play DFS for it, so I think Minnesota competes. Is it Minnesota plus 10? Yeah, I'll tout plus 10. That's probably the fishiest move ever, but there you go. How's that for a lukewarm take? Boom. Mike Green greater than Dougie Hamilton. Yeah, Seth's gonna play all of the Mike Green. I will play an actual good defenseman in Dougie Hamilton, and we will see who comes out on top. Ekman Larson at 5K. Well, I just really don't like Arizona much at all. So I don't ever want to just disregard a team on a short slate. But man, they are by far my least owned team. They just look really tough to me. If this is not a 3-game slate, they don't get played at all, and I don't think they should. They're probably going to score 2 goals. So if those 2 goals come from the same line, or a guy gets a multi-point outing, you have to have some exposure to them. If you're playing whatever the max is in this stupid $15 on DK, like I'm playing 96 lineups or 94 lineups, I think it's dumb to just X out a team. But Arizona's coming close to it, and it's kind of organically too. The only thing that really looks okay to me is just their ownership. Everyone appears to be on the same page as me, which is frustrating. Let's go to the last game on the slate. Probably the most fun game to watch, depending on what goes on in the Ottawa-Detroit game. 3 implied total for the Penguins, 3.4 for the Avs. Tristan Jarry and Pavel Francouz. Z's silent. Those are the goalies. Donskoy out. Crosby more than likely out. I'm building my lineups like Crosby is not playing. It appears that he's not. But of course, check back in if something weird happens, if it was a erroneous report, whatever. Always want to make sure, because that could mess up lines and stuff. But this game locks way later, so you might be locked in anyways if you have a lot of exposure to the first 2 games. Big 3 for Colorado, really popular, and they should be. They're awesome. They're all about 25% McKinnon up at. We've got him at 36, highest owned player on the slate, and that makes sense. Malkin, Rusk, Cahoon, I don't think is like a juggernaut defensively, and that's who they're going to go up against a lot. I will say maybe our offense is the best defense, because they have been just Malkin with whoever. Malkin with Gensel and Simone. Malkin with Rust and Gensel was absurdly good. Malkin with Rust and Cahoon had a really good game. They just I don't know. He's just playing like a madman right now without Crosby, and they needed it. So Pitt 1, once again, you're paying $7K, $7,100 for Brian Rust. And I get it. If you haven't been on the Rust train, like if you weren't on Pitt 1 early when they started crushing, you're probably like, man, how am I losing to people playing $7,100 Rust? But he has deserved the price, I think. I don't think it's a bad price for him, to be honest. Like he's having a massive game once out of every 3 times out. And he's shooting a ton. He's generating a ton of scoring chances, blocking some shots as well. If you just look at the box score. So that being said, I really, really, really like Pitt 1. I think I actually might have more Pitt 1 than Colorado 1. So that might be a hot take. I like the Ottawa side. I like the Pittsburgh side. I think a little bit more in this game. You can always game stack it. Nothing wrong with that. Or you can power play stack Pitt. I like to power play stack Pitt here with Malkin, Rust, and then pick your poison between Hornquist, McCann, Letang. I like defenseman against Colorado. He's $6,100. I think I prefer him over Cale Makar, I think, by a little bit. So Rust sucks. He returns to earth tonight. Maybe it's just Crosby playing in Rust's body, and he just turned into a righty or something. Rust is, maybe he's going to return to earth tonight, but I think if Pitt scores a lot of goals here, Seth, you're going to be, as you say, selling organs to buy food or whatever this weekend. 100% McKinnon. Not for me, 100% McKinnon. In fact, I'm probably going to be below the field on Pitt 1, which is never a comfortable place to be. But like if he's going to get that much ownership, and you've got 2 teams that I really like in Carolina and Ottawa that they're not that cheap, specifically the lines I want to play. Logically, I'm just going to probably fall under the field on McKinnon. If I run a bunch of 3-2-1s, he's going to be the 1 or in the 2 a ton of the time. And so that's why I'm kind of worried about running 3-2-1s, because I have to almost manually cap him. And then I don't love capping players. Like if they're coming up in that many lineups, there's probably a good reason. 8,500 for McKinnon looks like a lot, but on a short slate, you can make that work pretty easily. So full stacks, certainly going to be under the field on Colorado. It's a fine spot for them, but I like my lineups a little bit better when I play some other lines, including Pitt 1. Second line here, again, no Donskoy, but you like the Kadri-Burakovsky combo. Nishushkin has been solid lately, and he's still min salary at $2,500. So full stack, sure. I kind of like Colorado as a 2-man with Kadri being the anchor there. The second line for Pittsburgh, I think I like a little bit better as a full stack than the Colorado second line. So I'm on a couple of the road teams here. Pitt 1 and Ottawa 1 on FanDuel. Yeah. I like it. If you can fit that, sure. Can you fit that on DK? I think you can. You got to get punty though with your defenseman. Perma fade. This is a pretty good 3-game slate, I think. Like everybody knows what to do, I think, with these games. You're going to play the top lines. Everyone's going to play the top lines, myself included. But I think this matchup is huge for this slate. And then this matchup is huge because I think Ottawa 1 rolls over them pretty often in this spot, and ownership does not reflect that. So Gerard, Makar, we've got Graves, EJ, Cole, Zadorov. You could probably make a case for pretty much any of those guys at their price points. I'm getting to a lot of Makar because even though it is a short slate, I'm still getting to some Makar because of how, like, I'm not going to play no Colorado 1. I'm not playing 5% Colorado 1. If I play 15, 20% Colorado 1, Makar is going to be in half of those lineups or whatever it ends up being. And so he's more of a product of playing some Colorado 1 because he can. Sam Girard, and I'm not getting to a lot of Sam Girard right now. I think I'm okay with that. EJ, 3,600. I think I put him in the cheat sheets. Just a good price for a guy that's probably going to play 20 minutes and block shots. It's not like I'm super pumped about playing EJ. I rarely am. On the other side, you've got Marino, Pettersson, and then, of course, Letang. I always play Marcus Pettersson, and I think it's because of his rates. They're like, okay, and he's always cheap. He's 2,600. I'm probably playing double digits of him tonight, which always, like, it never feels fun. He's not a high upside guy. So that being said, I am playing some of him. I'm at actually 11 point. Wait, where'd he go? 11.7%. So 11 lineups out of 94. If the slate started right now. Letang, I'm going to be closer to Dougie range on him, 20-30%. I would imagine I get somewhere in there on him. Where are we at? 350, 450 Eastern for you East Coasters. If you guys could give us a like, that would be very much appreciated. Goalies, I usually mention on a short slate. I play a lot of correlated goalies. It's less and less viable, at least if you're forcing it in as the slate gets shorter. Because if a goalie does go off tonight or there's a shutout, you're going to need him to compete in tonight's slate. So the guys I'm playing the most of are actually Inti Ranta, because I think Carolina's going to put up a lot of shots. Bernier, I think Ottawa's going to put up a lot of shots. But those guys are both below 30%. And 30% of my lineups right now. It's very flat exposures going down for my goalies, which is exactly what I would want. Is there any goalie that's getting left out? I guess is probably the better way to put it. Like, so sometimes, man, I don't have these sorted by position, do I? I got to add that in my little sheet here. I'm not getting to a lot of Mrazek. And then, where do we have Yari at? Yari is up there for me. Yeah, wow, I have every goalie in double digits right now, which I think I'm okay with. I don't think there's a goalie that's necessarily off limits. You're either seeing win equity for most of these guys or volume. In the case of Ranta, probably Bernier, likely Hogberg as well, just because he's playing with Ottawa in front of him. And that's really all I got for this slate. I think it's a fun one for a 3-gamer. Hopefully we get a little bit better than what we got. Was that 2 nights ago on Wednesday? That slate was maybe the worst of the season. Like, nothing happened. I think like 130 was binking large field GPPs on DraftKings, and I'm sure it was really low on FanDuel as well. I just hope that maybe a stack wins a GPP tonight. Is that so much to ask on a short slate? I still really like to stack on these short slates, but get creative. If you're playing the chalk, don't let me just talk you off of McKinnon because I say I'm going to be underweight on them. If you like them, which there's a ton of reasons to like them, but they always come with ownership. They're always expensive. So just figure out a way to get weird with them. If you're playing a third line tonight, I like Carolina 3, I think, is my favorite third line. There's little depth to Detroit and Ottawa. Makar didn't make the All-Star game? Maybe because he missed some of that time. I don't know. I never understand the voting. He missed a little bit of time, I think, didn't he? Yeah, there's not really a third line I love. I'm sticking in the top 6 for the most part. But that's really all I have for DFS tonight. But if you want to become a member, this is the last night to use the New Year promo code. I'll put this information in here. There's a link to the sign up page if you would like to take advantage of this code. This is the big one. Promo code New Year. If you're thinking about getting a platinum yearly subscription, $200 off for platinum. You can add FC after the fact. That will not be at a discounted rate, but you can add Fantasy Cruncher if you prefer to have Fantasy Cruncher with your subscription. That goes away tonight, as does the $20 for 20 days of Platinum Osmo Plus. That's promo code 2020. Here's what you get. Again, ends tonight. If you want to have the option to purchase Fantasy Cruncher for the duration of your trial, make sure you choose the Platinum Monthly when you sign up for this code, because there's a little bit of a bug with the weekly one with people trying to add FC. So there you go. If you guys have any more questions, if you want to check out the rankings, here's the NHL rankings, free today. See what we've got. One thing we've got behind the paywall for NHL, we've also got projections, ownership projections for DraftKings and FanDuel. NFL rankings, we've got a million different pieces of NFL content and NBA. Deeper dive should be coming on pretty shortly after I'm off here, because it looks like we're going to get done early. Yeah, let's make it a good night. And shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports for sponsoring us, helping us make this possible. And if you could give a like, whether it be for us or for Yahoo, and go support Yahoo, go play over there. Use promo code OSMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. With Anthony Davis out tonight, are you going to play McGee? Well, I don't play NBA DFS too often, so you're going to have to wait for the deeper dive. That is coming on right after this show is done. You can just click on the Osmo YouTube, and then you're going to see, I believe it's Alex and Adam. So really smart guys. Laffy's a smart guy too, but I think Laffy gets the day off for deeper dives on Friday. So you're going to see number one player in the world, Adam Scherer, as well. Ship My Money, one of the more respected players in DFS, going at it for NBA. McGee greater than Tony D. No one's better than Tony D. Tony D's the king. Tony D's my king, at least. All right, guys. Good luck. We will talk about whether or not there'll be a show in Slack tomorrow, but there's a lot of NFL going on, bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of content being thrown at you. Good luck tonight. Let's get it done.